Hi, I'm Tony. I'm the executive chef at Apiary, and you are in the hive. Okay, today what we're doing is Bolognese. Right? What is Bolognese? Bolognese is around here. Most people know it as meat sauce, right? In Italy, it's actually called ragu Bolognese, and it's kind of what it is. It's a ragu. It's a meat sauce. Just imagine like chili. Okay, so it's more of a like just meaty chili. Not even a sauce. It is a ragu which goes great with pappardelle, any kind of flat noodles, or just whatever you want to do it. One of my guys actually put it on the kids' mac and cheese, and that was pretty good. So anyway, how do we do this? Okay, I'm going to kind of show you a couple of techniques. We're going to start with our ingredients. Right here we have some ground beef, which is it's a blend of Angus beef that's ground fresh from us for our purveyors. Yes, we can still get ground beef. If you cannot get ground beef, that's fine. You can do, you can do ground turkey. There's a lot of ground turkey out right now because nobody wants to use it. It works just the same. Ground pork, whatever you can get your hands on. We have an onion, big boy onion. If you can't find those at the store, you can get a couple of smaller ones, which is fine. Sometimes they sell these big guys too, right? We have a head of garlic, big one, and also big boy carrots. Okay, same thing at the store. You usually see the little bit smaller guys. I like using the big ones, especially when we're doing small dice. It just works a little bit better, and I'll show you why. A couple of bay leaves, okay, available at the bodega. These are fresh bay leaves, okay. Here for the camera. All right. So usually the ones you find in the store, they're like dry. They've kind of lost all their flavor. These are still green, as you can see, and they're really nice and flavorful and kind of help. We have what is about the same amount of a 12-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. We have some heavy cream, olive oil, and red wine. All right. So first of all, I'm going to start my stove. I'm just going to go crank it up on high. This is the smallest pot I can find. Everything we do here is a little bit bigger, as you can imagine. If you don't have gas, electric is fine. The other thing, as far as high heat, we like to sear everything like high heat. You see that like on on TV shows or whatever. At home, if you don't have a hood, you probably don't want to do that because then you're going to have smoke everywhere, fire alarms going, and then you're like shaking a towel. So that's not a good thing. You don't have to you don't have to crank it up. Okay. All right. Onions, okay? So this is where the little, the little beard is. We've kind of peeled them, and this is the front of the onion, okay? That's where the little things will come up. All right? So I'll show you why this is important, okay? First of all, we'll do this when I cut the onion in half, all right? And then I'll lay it down. Beard side I kind of flatten it out a little bit right here, okay? Do it on both sides. All right, now, why do I do that? So you see a lot of people, when they cut the onion, they just kind of want to do this and do that whole thing, like, they teach you culinary school. We're not going to do that, all right? So I'll show you a little trick that I do that I like to do. It makes it a little bit easier. You can actually see what you're doing and how thick you're cutting everything. All right, so here where we did the cut, right? We did the cut over here with the beard. I'm going to lift that up, okay? And then I'm going to see straight down, if you want to like shoot it from the top, and I'm just going to go straight down just like that, okay? Not all the way down, right? Just like that. So obviously this is a very sharp knife, and it makes it a lot easier. Maybe we'll do a sharpening video one of these days. All right. Okay, we're gonna set that aside right here. Same thing over here. This up and down. And I'm cutting it about, I don't know, 5 millimeters. What is that? Is that like 1/8 of an inch or something? I'm from Bulgaria, so still millimeters a little easy to me. All right, so we did that. We have our onion sliced. We have our little beard end that we haven't really cut through here. That's going to hold the onion together. Now, I'm going to start going just like that, okay? Same thickness that I went, this way, I'm going the other way, right? So we have a nice little square. All right, same thing over here, okay? Just up and down. And if you kind of see, I kind of put my finger right here, and that'll actually hold it together. You can kind of go down. And you can go really slow. I actually teach my daughter, she's 9, and she does that nice and slow, and you don't have to do it fast, right? Okay, just like that. Now we've done this, and then we're just gonna go up and down, just like that. Now look, I'm gonna do this right here. I'm gonna put my finger there, just like that. See how everything kind of stays together? And your knife is clean. You can just kind of go down. And just makes you feel a little bit better, right? It's like that, nice and neat. Okay? This is over here. I'm going to continue to see I'm going to press against it, and that's going to support it a little bit. Same thing. Go up and down. Okay? And just as well, you can just do this, right? But we're not going to do that, right? It's for beginners. Okay, so we talked about, getting a big carrot. Here's the reason why. So I'm not going to, you notice I'm not peeling it, right? I'm just going to go just like that. All right, so I'm just going to square it off. You see what I just did like right there? So I'm squaring off, I'm cutting, and I'm peeling at the same time, okay? Saving time. All right, just like that. So now it's a lot easier to dice. And we didn't really waste that much because we're getting ready to peel, which you're going to peel anyway. But you don't have to pull out a peeler, and you don't have to deal with those pesky peels, right? That are all over the place and it gets all nasty. Pro tip on that, if you are peeling something, you can put a piece of parchment on your board and peel on top of that, then you can just kind of gather it all on the parchment, throw it away. Makes it a little bit easier so you don't have to scrape it off your board. All right, so here we go. Here's our carrot. Now we're going to do the same thing about the same size. I'm just going to go up and down. Carrots can be kind of tricky, especially if you don't have a very sharp knife, right? You can kind of slip. It's like, gosh, what am I doing? So this is what I teach my daughter all the time, okay? First you go down, make the tip of the knife touch the board, and go down, hold this with the finger, and draw the knife out, okay? Down, just like that. Bring it down, pull it out, okay? Make the knife work. All right, same thing over here. Tip goes down, just like that. All right. Good. Okay, now, if you're doing it, if you want to do an exact cut, it takes a little bit longer. This is what I do when I want to do like something really nice and exact. I'll start lining these guys up like soldiers over here, okay? See how I'm lining them up? Next one is just like that, same thing. Okay? Like that. So interesting thing on the carrots, if I draw my knife through them, they'll actually curl. See how it curls? If I go down, they'll stay straight. It's kind of a weird thing, okay? All right. Same thing, and if you're impatient, you can go two, right? But if you're first learning, you just do one, okay? Now see, I have them all lined up like that, and they're nice and flat. I'll go ahead and do the rest of it. So it's nice to have a big cutting board, right? You always want a bigger cutting board than what you need.
Lots of room to spread out.
That's right. Okay, so I'm right-handed, so I'm going to start from the right side. So again, you can kind of drag your knife through here. Just like that. And you notice my knuckles are just kind of doing this, right? Because if I'm like this, most likely I'll take the tip of my finger off. Okay, so that's not good. We don't want that. We don't want to be going to the ER right now, right? That would not be good. Okay, and then the advanced version is this, right? So that's what we do in the kitchen when we're like in a hurry. You can just kind of go like this. All right, but then you can go slower, just kind of go like that. Let the knife do the work. All right, so I'm gonna finish my carrots. All right, now let's see. All right, I didn't run out of space. Yay! This is a win. Okay, next up is our garlic. All right, so this is what I do when I peel garlic. A lot of people try to yank the little cloves out of there. It's kind of hard. All right, so what I do is I cut the bottom off. All right, so this is the trickiest part because this is kind of hard. That's why again you want a really sharp knife, and we'll do a knife sharpening demonstration. Really important to have a sharp knife. If you have a dull knife, you have more chance to get yourself cut. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut through here so you can see how you can see the butts of the garlic, and then it's really easy you kind of start breaking it through, right? I'm just going to get these guys out of here. And what's that going to allow me is I can get in and peel them a little bit easier, okay? All right, get all these guys over here. And I keep doing it as I reach the ones that don't have the bottom cut. Just kind of go like this. Get rid of this stuff. Right, same thing over here. Separate them out. So if I'm doing a marinara, for example, I'd want to slice the garlic. Or a lot of times, you know, if you want, let's say you want to peel the garlic like this, and you want to, you know, maybe get ahead and put them in your fridge. If you smash it, as soon as you smash it, then it starts breaking down. As soon as you smash it, it's almost like cooking it. It starts like the oil starts breaking down the garlic. It'll start smelling after a couple of days. If I carefully peel it like that, I can leave it in the fridge, and it's good for, you know, a couple, 2-3 days without even doing it. Also, what I can do is, you know, I can slice it like this, right? And it's a nice clean slice. You know, if I smash it, I couldn't do a nice slice. So I can either slice it, or I can, you know, chop it. I can do whatever I want with it, and it's no big deal. All right, so we'll go back to the garlic here in a little bit. I can hear my pot creaking over here. It's nice and hot. It's actually pretty hot. All right, we're gonna get our olive oil. All right, there's not gonna be a measure on this, okay? Anytime you're doing anything with olive oil in a pot, just cover the bottom of the pot, and then that's all you want to do, okay? Now this is going to smoke a little bit. You probably don't want to get it this hot at your house, because again, you're going to just, you know, start the smoke alarm. You don't want that. But I like to get it really hot, sear off that meat, and as you can see, it's smoking. Not smoking, probably smoking too much. Anyway, I'm going to take this. I'm going to put this down here. All right, and I'm just going to kind of break it down a little bit. Okay, so let's calm down a little bit. I'm about medium heat right now. All right, and I'm just going to gently spread it out. Okay. All right. So, this is my trusty fish spatula, okay? Why do I use this? I use this probably 90% of the time for things that are not fish, okay? The reason I like to use it is because, first of all, it's got a flat bottom right here, so I can break down, you know, like if I'm doing the meat or anything like that, I can break it down. But also, you know, I can scrape off the bottom of the pan. You know, that's obviously if you have a stainless steel pan. You can scrape the bottom really nicely and get all those bits off of there. And once we get into the actual sauce part, when I stir it kind of acts like a whisk, because, you know, all those folds are this, so it's not going to splash up on you. For example, if like let's say you're making like polenta or grits or something like that, and you want to stir it, you know, the whisk doesn't get it all off the bottom, so it gets sticky down there and it burns up. And then a spoon, when you like, you know, if you like try to stir it, and it like starts plopping up on you and it's like lava. So, all right, we're just gonna break this down a little bit, let it cook. We'll put it, like I said, about medium heat. That'll be like, you know, 4 or 5 on the electric. All right, we're gonna go back to our garlic. We're just gonna slice it up a little bit. Okay. Again, so when you do garlic, when you slice garlic, this is a little pro tip. You know, you would think you will start at the bottom. Actually, I start at the tip because the bottom will always stay flat. So when I kind of go like this, when I get to the end, I can keep slicing, right? And it'll stay nice and flat. Okay? And again, I'm doing the knuckles, right? So the reason for this, again, is you don't want to cut your finger off. But if you do this long enough, then you can kind of like, you know, get used to it to where I can just like look at this and I can slice it without looking because I know that where my finger is, right? So if you know where to, you know, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer, right? So if I can feel the knife, I know where the knife is at all times, so I can just keep cutting and it's fine, right? All right, so we're slicing right now, but we're actually going to go and chop this up here in a little bit. Gotta fix my mic again. All right, now I'm just going to chop this up. And you want to be careful, especially if you have a sharp knife, you don't want to get it dull the first 5 minutes using it. A lot of people are like, see them like hacking at the garlic. It's not nice. Let's not do that. Uh, you know, just put your tip of the knife down and just gently go down. Let the knife do the work. It's very simple. And that also kind of lets the knife create that slicing motion instead of just kind of chopping up and down. The more you chop with a knife up and down, the more you kind of bend that edge, and it becomes a little bit less effective. Right? So we got our garlic chopped up nice. Not too big, you want to have some of those chunks in there. Nice flavor. All right. We'll do this over here like that. Put it in a special bowl. All right. So I've kind of set everything over here, so everything is close by. We have our meat that we strained, and then all the fat's over there. This is my red wine. I'm gonna do a little bit like this, okay? Just kind of drench the meat a little bit.
What is this red wine?
Red wine, yes.
Is it a certain kind of wine or any kind of wine?
It's the kind that's red.
Okay.
So whatever you have in your house, people say, cook with what you drink. So you don't have to go get a special red wine. If you have something you like, just use that, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and put just a little bit of salt, okay? I'm not gonna tell you amounts on salt. You just, this recipe is all about, it's kind of a slow cooking recipe. You're just gonna keep tasting it, and then you just keep adding salt as you like. All right, so as you can hear, if you can, this is kind of popping. It's smoking a little bit again. It's ready for our vegetables, okay? So we got our onions here, our carrots, our garlic, okay? And we're going to put a little bit more olive oil over here. Okay, since we lost all the olive oil over there with the meat, we're going to add a little bit over here. Make it all nice and happy. Okay, trust the spatula. Okay, stir it up. Kind of crank it up at this point now. Once all the vegetables are there, that's going to cool off your pan, so you can crank it up a little bit, no problem. All right, add a little bit of salt. So you want to season everything lightly as you're going along. Vegetables, if you want them to keep their shape, you don't want to salt them. If you want them to kind of break down and be part of the sauce more, then salt them. So for example, if you're making soup, I don't usually like salting the vegetables because I want them to keep their shape and keep a little bit of a bite. I'll season at the end. But if I'm doing a sauce where I kind of want everything, all the flavors to melt, I'll go ahead and throw a little bit of salt in there. That's going to help them kind of get the fuzzy edges around them. And they're going to cook a little bit quicker. And the main thing is the salt is going to make all the vegetables release the water, right? So we're concentrating flavor, we're building layers, and then we can add water later on, but right now we're just kind of reducing everything. All right? So I'm going to keep cooking this probably about 3 or 4 minutes until it's nice translucent and it's a little bit soft. You can almost hear it in the pot. Whenever you kind of move it around, you can almost kind of get the sense of how soft the vegetables are getting. Kind of see they're already starting to blanch out a little bit. And next time when we do the marinara, you'll see it's actually more important when we do the marinara for that to be to kind of cook a little bit longer, because the marinara doesn't cook as long as the bolognese. The bolognese is kind of like you can put it on and you just kind of go watch TV, come back to it, stir it a little bit. The longer it cooks, the better it's going to be. It's going to develop more flavor, more depth. Just like a good pot of chili. Just kind of leave it on there. So I don't have to really break the vegetables down too much. So as soon as they're translucent, okay, we're almost there right now. I don't know if you can see that. So see, they've kind of gotten a little bit softer, a little bit translucent. They're ready to go. We'll do a little bit of black pepper, fresh cracked. You can use the stuff in a little bottle. I won't get mad. All right. And now our red wine. This is about a cup of red wine. Like I said, we already poured a little bit on the meat, and now I'm just gonna put it on here. All of it, right? Well, almost all of it. Okay.
That was about a full cup total.
Yeah, that's a full cup of red wine. Like I said, I put some over there. And then here I've got a little bit of oregano, just a couple of pinches.
Big pinches.
Yeah, big pinches.
Right.
Something like that. Look how it's flying. All right. Okay, so a little bit of oregano. Some people like using, marjoram, dry basil, Italian seasoning. Whatever you have, whatever you like, it doesn't really matter. I like oregano. It's a little bit cleaner. Keeps everything just really more focused about, the meat and the vegetables and just the overall flavor. That's what I like. All right, so as you can see right now, it's pretty liquid in here. We're going to try to cook this down to where it's pretty dry and kind of caramelizes the vegetables. At this point, you can crank it up and it's fine. Let all that wine evaporate. I'll put a little bit more oregano. Why not? Boom. Like that. We're back with our water, so I got about a cup and a half of water. It doesn't really matter. I'm using the water pretty much once we get everything in there to really just kind of loosen everything up, get it going, cook it, and then we're going to bring it down to, like a thickness of the sauce. So it doesn't really matter. You can start with a cup and a half, 2 cups of them. It's however much time you have. If you don't have a lot of time, less water, it's going to cook a little bit quicker. But ideally, you're taking your time with this recipe. When we make it here, and maybe next week we'll do the big marinara like how we usually do it here. I literally this thing cooks like all day long. I just leave it on the stove. I kind of do the other things. Come back to it, tend to it, stir it, taste it, see how it's going. So it's just it's meant to just kind of hang out in there. All right. Let's see where we at over here. All right. So as you can see, that cup of red wine just kind of disappeared really fast. All right. Now we're caramelizing our vegetables, and it's pretty dry over here now. Okay. At this point, I'm going to put my can of crushed tomatoes.
So it's 1 can.
Yeah, one 12-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. Obviously, this came out of a very big can that we use, so kind of measured out a cup and a half. Okay. All right. So tomatoes over here. Again, so a lot of recipes in Italy they actually use tomato paste. So I'm kind of trying to do a little bit of both, give it more of a, saucy texture. So there's a little bit more tomato and, so it's a little bit of both, okay? You don't have to do it, there's no rules in cooking, right? There's some rules, but not a lot. Okay, looks like I'm drained out really nice over here. Over here what I'm going to do is same thing, kind of reduce everything a little bit, almost create a paste, right? With the tomatoes, and as soon as it's dry and kind of caramelizes a bit, all right, I'm going to go ahead and throw my bay leaves in there too. Okay. And I'll do that for about 4 or 5 minutes, maybe even less. Turn down the heat a little bit. All right. All right. So we're nice and caramelized. We're kind of dried out a little bit here. Next up, we're going to go ahead and put our water in there. All right. And we might add some more later, but right now, all I want to do is just kind of get everything nice and happy and rehydrated and ready to receive the ground beef. Okay, so what I'm going to do right here is just kind of bring it all to a boil and let it simmer for about 3 or 4 minutes, melt all those flavors, and then we're going to add our ground beef after that. Okay, so right now we're boiling. I'm going to go ahead and turn that down. Just kind of simmer it for a little bit. All right. So just a nice simmer. You kind of take a shot over here. It's kind of bubbling. Turn it way down. And I'm going to let that cook for about 2 or 3 minutes. Or longer, whatever you have time for. Okay. So this has been cooking for about 3 to 4 minutes, right? Kind of dried it out again. We'll probably add a little bit more water later, but right now I'm gonna go ahead and put my beef in there. Okay, and you can kind of see there was a bunch of fat and stuff that came off of that. And I'm just gonna start working in there. So at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and make a call and see, you know, if I need more water. And instead of water, also you can use chicken stock or beef stock, really whatever you want to do. I like using water; it's just like one less ingredient, but feel free to, you know, substitute it with anything else. I want to keep adding water until this is pretty liquid. Actually, gonna go ahead and get a little bit more. So you see, this is pretty dry. So I'm just gonna get probably another cup or so of water in here.
Do you think you just added about 2 cups of water?
Yeah, total. Like I said, it just depends how long you cook the vegetables and the tomatoes and all that. At the end of the day, you just want to end up with something that's pretty moistened and almost like you know, the consistency of chili. So I would actually even add a little bit more water. A little bit more. Okay. So we're all going to reduce this back again, so it really doesn't matter what we start off with as long as we're looking at. So right now, see, I'm getting a little bit, I'm getting where I need to be. All right. So this is looking pretty soupy, right? But it's okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and crank up the heat, and I'm gonna bring this to a boil. Audio is about to come out again. All right, a little bit more. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. 7. All right, now I'm just gonna let everything come to a boil and get nice and melted.
Alright, so the heat's back up and we're just
Yeah, we're cranking it up.
Boil.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just cranking it up, getting nice and hot. And as soon as it starts boiling, a rolling boil, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back down, and we'll put it down to a simmer. And from this point on, there's only one thing you have to do, and I'll show you what that is here in a second. And then you just kind of let it go. You know, you just walk away, and you know, come back, and every few minutes stir.
What's the objective? What do we want it to look like?
Objective is for everything just to kind of get emulsified. It's going to look almost like, say, like chili. You know how like chili just gets a little bit thick and just you can kind of tell. See, like right now, it just looks like you know, like beef soup, right? And we don't want to put that on our pasta, right? So we're boiling nice and yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead and kind of bring it down, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start putting my heavy cream. Okay, traditionally it's a lot of people use milk, but I like using heavy cream. It's a little bit richer. Also, some people that have dairy allergies, they're actually not allergic to cream. Actually, our pastry chef, she has a milk allergy, but she's not allergic to heavy cream. So, but again, I just kind of put a little bit of cream on there, and that's a very traditional thing to do. That'll kind of again help bring all those flavors together, and it'll actually break down the meat a little bit and make it all into that nice beautiful consistency that we're looking for. And it also helps the sauce kind of stick to the pasta, and it's also, cream is delicious, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna let this cook probably for about 10 minutes or so. Add my cream again, go another 10-15 minutes, and keep adding the cream until I'm out. This is, you know, about a half a cup of cream.
Okay.
And you can add more, you can add less, you can not use the cream at all. But this is just a traditional way to do it, and I really like just the velvety texture that it kind of brings to the bolognese, and it kind of helps, like I said, coat the pasta, and almost the same thing that olive oil does in the marinara. It serves the same purpose. Okay, so we'll just kind of let this cook, and then we'll be back in a few minutes.
All right.
It's been 10 minutes now, or 15. All right, now you can kind of see, I see how it's all kind of starting to come together now. It's looking a little bit more like a sauce. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more cream, about like that. Okay, stir it in. You can kind of tell it looks a little bit cloudy right now, but then as it cooks again for another 10 or so minutes, it'll blend in. It'll start looking like that nice orange color. All right, and I kind of keep breaking down, as you can see. I kind of keep breaking down those little big pieces of meat in there. You want it to be just pretty much homogeneous and just be all small pieces by the time this is all said and done. Okay. All right, and I want to leave this for another 5 or 10 minutes. We'll come back, add a little bit more cream, and just kind of let it keep rolling. All right?
All right.
All right. So it's been about 10, 15 minutes. Our sauce is doing great. See how it's just kind of like bubbling, nice and easy. You can kind of tell it's already like the meat's starting to break down a little bit. And the fat's kind of keeping it from really evaporating too much, so it's just keeping the same volume more or less. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get the last of my cream in there.
Do you have to draw a smiley face?
Yes, if you can draw a smiley face. I failed on this one. We'll do another take. Maybe next time.
Next time.
All right. So again, see how we're getting cloudy again. All right, and we're going to let that cook for a little while. All right. So some of you might ask, why don't we just dump the cream in all at the same time? Why are we over here keep adding it and everything like that? Well, it's the same reason we don't just dump all the ingredients in the beginning, right, and just boil it. It's all about building layers of flavor, okay? So the cream that's been in there in the beginning, it's kind of created the background of the flavor, and it's kind of bringing everything together. And as you're adding more cream, it's just different layers of flavor. Just the same reason we're sauteing the vegetables, adding the meat later, adding the tomato. It's just building more flavor, layers and layers. It's just like a painting, right? You don't just, don't do the background. I mean, you know about paintings.
Build it up.
You have to paint the background first, let it dry, then come back. Do the happy little tree. What is that? The bush or something. So it's all about building layers, and it takes some time. So I want to stir this up again. At this point, I'm just going to let this, just kind of chill on the stove, half an hour. The longer the better. You'll kind of get an idea. If you can serve this right now if you want to, and it'll probably be fine. I'm going to go ahead.
The idea is just to reduce a little.
Yeah, just reduce it and get it. You want to kind of get it sticky. You want it to stick to the pasta. At this point, I want to go ahead and give it a little taste.
How is it?
Almost there. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt right now.
Okay.
And the reason you want to wait until kind of towards the end to add the salt, obviously, is because now we're kind of like at the final volume where this is going to be. It's going to reduce maybe just a little bit, but that's about it. If you do it in the beginning and you taste it like, oh, that's great. Well, when it reduces, all that water evaporates, and then you end up with something really salty, right? So you kind of wait. You want to put a little bit of salt, like I said, to break down the protein in the vegetables, but not really to do the final seasoning. The final seasoning, it's called a final seasoning for a reason, right? It's you want it at the end. So I'm kind of going to wait. So I did a little bit of seasoning right now. I'm pretty happy with it. salt is going to be different for everybody, right? Some people like it salty, some people don't. Keep in mind you are putting this on pasta, so it could be a little bit saltier than what you like, because once you mix it with the pasta, it's going to balance out, or whatever you're putting it with. And then so we're going to let this sit for at least half an hour or so, maybe an hour. Come back to it, and then what I do is I just kind of turn it off and just let it sit on the stove. Okay, it doesn't have to go in the fridge right away. You probably don't want to put something hot in your fridge right away anyway. That's if you're storing. If you're going to use it right away, that's great. A sauce like that, any kind of pasta sauce, it's always good, especially with the bolognese, is make it a day ahead, and that way when it's time to do it, just kind of like when you guys buy the sauce from us, it's already ready. It's been marinating, it's been sitting there, all the flavors are nice and developed, and then you just warm it up, throw the pasta on there. It's really quick, so it's a lot better to actually get this done, refrigerate it, let it mature a little bit, and then it just makes it so much better. All right, so we're gonna let this sit, and we'll come back and we'll see how it goes, how it's looking like in about a half an hour, and then that'll be it.
All right.
And thank you guys for joining us again. It's kind of like the first time we've done this. It's a little bit crazy, right? Just like the times that we're in, and we'll try to do this every week. Next time we'll do the marinara, and then we'll do the ricotta, and then we'll bring the lasagna together and see kind of how that works. And if any of you guys want to see something, or you're wondering, or you have a question, shoot us a text, or how do the people talk to us, right?
Email.
Is it email?
Yeah.
Shoot us email. Don't text us.
Call Cooper.
Call Cooper. Cooper at theapiary.com. That's with any complaints.
Yeah, only
And then, but yeah, if there's any questions, please ask us. If there's a recipe that maybe something you got from us, and you're like, well, this is great, and you want to learn how to do it, let's do it. I'll show you how to do it. And or if there's some kind of request you guys have, feel free to contact us and let us know. All right. So for now, thank you again. I'm Tony, and you've been in the Hive.
Thanks, Tony.